If you'd like to sponsor Still Got Game, give us a call at 773-527-2961 or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. Hey now! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Still Got Game episode 518. Still Got Game is the official podcast of tooltoplay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am Brian Shadow Emmerich.
Yeah, there's no Selden this week. See, that's why we just went from me to Shadow. They're like, no Selden. He blew us off.
It's very weird. I didn't know. I almost didn't say it. I'm like, wait a minute, it's not my turn yet.
Yeah. I know it must be confusing you. So when we get to the news, we're going to alternate back and forth. That's how that's going.
Okay, good.
Yeah. We can't just wait for Selden.
Just sitting here dead air. Yeah, well, I don't know. What are we gonna do?
I'm waiting for my turn. I'm third. Yep. Yeah. So we're back. Selden blew us off. I think
it's 4 weeks in a row.
This is 4 weeks in a row. Yeah. Unfortunately, the next 2 weeks, there's not going to be shows because it's either we could record a show and I wouldn't have time to edit it, and then the next week I'm actually on the cruise and coming back after that. So, we're going to have 2 weeks
we're making
off
up for it now.
Yeah. So we front loaded this shit. We definitely front loaded it, and then we can take 2 weeks off, and then we'll continue on with our badass schedule of awesomeness.
I mean, we got 5. This is 5 so far this year, and it's only February. So I mean, we're well on the way to beat last year. Yeah,
sure. We're definitely on fire, and it's your pressure. Since you came on, you're like, you guys skip all the fucking time. What's going on? Let's do a show.
Well, I mean, when you have 2 people, if one person's out, you're not going to do it. But if you have 3, then one person's out, you can still do one. So it's
true. Yeah, I got you there. Yeah. So when it was
unless it's you, then we can't.
A little more difficult. Yeah.
If you're out, then no.
And there are times that I've thought. Actually, I technically did do one myself, but it was before there was video, which is the episode once I brought back Tool Type Radio. After Jay stopped, and then I brought it back, and it was like a solo episode, and then I brought in, Code Monkey and everything. But
back in the dark ages.
Yes, way back, like 17 years ago.
Jeez.
Was it? Yeah. Let's see. It's 2024 now, and that was so it's 20 years ago. 19. Sorry, because it was almost, 2005. Yeah. That's fucked up, right?
Yeah. I've been around on the site since 2007, so almost that long.
Yeah, it's crazy. Nuts. So,
yep.
All right. Well, why don't we just hop in the show proper? As always, if you're in chat, I don't see anyone yet, but if you want to drop something in chat, we'll try to address it on the show. But we'll just start off with the mailbag for feedback and questions from our last episode. And if you want to leave us a voicemail, remember it'll cut you off after a minute. Parker Lewis Lost comments. Once again, Shadow didn't disappoint. Another crazy list. I look forward to hearing what he's watched during your next episode. So if you didn't listen last week, it was 2 weeks ago, or our last episode, Shadow listed... No,
and
2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
He listed all the crazy stuff from like the 80s and 90s that he watched
all over,
and it was all over the map. And Parker Lewis, big fan apparently. So
hey, I mean, I'll have a couple more for you this week. Not quite as many, but I'm always watching, always be watching. So nice. Listen, thanks for the shout out, Parker Lewis Lost, which I think is a great name.
Yeah, I hadn't put together it was Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Can't Lose, yeah.
And then it's Parker Lewis Lost. I missed that the first time around, and then I got the humor of the name. So yes, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, clever. I like it.
Yeah, very clever, yes. All right. Plancha God comments. Your episodes are so fun. I look forward to your show each week. Thanks for providing this service. And
awesome.
Thank you for your well-canned
patronage.
Yes. Yeah. Plancha God.
Well, I try to bring some levity. I think that's my thing. Is that I've tried to do since I've gotten here. So
no,
I don't know. I guess that's good. Thanks for no, that's I mean I do, but it's Derek's a lot of that.
Yeah,
You get the energy, man.
I do. It's not a good energy, but it's an energy.
I mean, it's something.
Yeah, it definitely is.
We don't
it's
know
more
what
than
yet,
nothing.
but
Yes, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, we try. So thank you for the nice comments, and if you want to respond to us, is plancha like based on the cooking plancha, like
Like
the
table?
yeah, like it's almost like a flat top, like
Yeah.
but I'm just curious because I pronounced it plancha, but it may have been plancha, and it has nothing to do with
Hmm,
that. But I
I
saw the
think it's
word in there and I guessed it. So,
I mean it could be plan chagad. We don't really know.
oh,
But it's probably
that's
plancha.
true. Plan
It's
or
probably
plan
I'm
cha
just kidding.
god.
It's
Yes.
plancha for sure. It's gotta be plancha. Oh yeah,
Uh,
plan chaga. I don't know.
yeah. Who knows? Who
Plan
knows?
chag odd? No, we don't have any idea, but I think it's probably plancha.
Yeah,
So
that was my
cool
guess.
name
So
too, man.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
like that too.
yeah. Well done. All right,
And the
and then
next one
speaking of
also a
cool
cool
names,
name.
all right. Penis Face 69 69 69 asks, why do you guys have a podcast? What makes you better than me? I could do this. All right, so first off, I'm guessing that this is an alias.
You think?
Yeah, this may not be Penis Face 69 69 69's main account.
Not
If
the
it-
real penis
yeah,
face 69.
yeah. Um,
An alt.
this
Is it a bot? I don't know.
This is a weird question. We have a podcast because we've been doing it for, like we just mentioned, a long time. What makes you better than me? Well, I'm assuming you don't have a podcast. And we do. So
Or maybe they're just jealous because they don't have as good of a podcast as we do.
could be. Yeah. It's this seemed aggressive when I read the comment, and that's why I made sure to put it in the show. Because I
of course.
always love when someone just comes out of left field and takes a swing at us. So yeah, and the fact that you say I could do this, my guess is no. Just wildly guessing, just based on your comment and your name. Like, you would have to start a show and be like, I'm Penis Face 69 69 69. Like you can't even get past that part. Like, no one would listen to you, right? Like,
It's true.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. Let me Penis Face 69. No, I'm not gonna write back to him.
Yeah, just angry internet troll. Yes, yeah. Yeah, so this was an interesting one. But yeah, we have a podcast and you don't. So because I did do a quick search to see if there was anyone named Penis Face 69 69 69 on any podcast, on iTunes, on Google Podcasts. And as far as I know, you don't exist. Which is why I speculated that this may have been a new account that you created to comment with. So just saying.
Very likely.
Yeah, maybe you should
right.
put your real name out there, Game Over Greggy. Or or Jeff Gersman. Like, who knows?
Oh,
who
no.
knows?
Oh, maybe, yeah, because I mentioned Jeff last podcast. Maybe you
Yeah,
get on,
see.
you're like, stop talking about me. I can do this. I do this.
Yeah, see,
You suck.
yeah. Yeah, see, exactly. You never know. So
Okay.
so we'll go from there.
All right.
And then last but certainly not least, Altius asks, with even more layoffs in the games industry, when do you think we'll hit the breaking point? Since my question last week, more than 1,900 additional layoffs have occurred.
Was this from 2 weeks ago, maybe? Because 1900, that was Microsoft. So that's
Yeah,
probably, unless
that's
it was happen again. I don't think 1900 happened again.
No, I think that was, yeah, maybe I pulled one from the off week. I might have fucked that up. Like,
I mean,
there's a whole inbox full of questions, and I always try to pull
Right.
one of Altius's. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, I feel like we're kind of there. Like, I don't think Nintendo's laying people off, and otherwise they've kind of done it all. I don't know what else can be done with layoffs right now. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think we're reaching like the companies that were going to lay people off have already laid them off. Um, so
Yeah.
like people recognize where they were uh, overemployed. They've made cuts. They've trying to bring down budgets and everything else. And yeah, I really don't see this continuing on endlessly.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like a lot of the places have, or some of them started to do it, and then the rest of them went, "Oh, well, I guess we can do it too," and we'll just kind of get lost on
yeah,
the
yeah, we won't look
shelf of
bad.
all the
Yes, yep,
layoffs.
yep, yep,
We won't
yep,
be singled out. We got to do it now though, because they're all doing it. So then we can all be like, "Oh, everybody's laying everybody off."
yep,
I can't do it 6 months later because then everyone will focus on them.
yep,
So
yep. No, that's
yeah,
the impression I got as well. Is like as soon as someone opened the faucet, then everyone else was like, "Yeah, everyone's doing it, guys. It's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it's we have
Yeah,
to." Yeah.
I don't see anybody like 6 months a year down the road doing massive layoffs again.
No, I
I think
don't
they've
think
kind of
so.
gotten their budget in order for the year probably by now, and
Yep, they're
unless they're a
running.
company that's closing or something, but
Oh, maybe, yeah, but for the most part, these guys are running lean and clean, and they've streamlined their business, and I really don't think like I know Altia seems like a naysayer now, but I don't think that we're going to see more. So who knows?
hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, these people are in the industry; they're friends. I know a bunch of them, so the last thing I want to see is them losing their jobs. So.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, if any of you have questions or feedback, give us a call, 773-527-2961. Email us at podcast@tooledplay.com, or even drop something on the Tool to Play homepage. And on that, why don't we hop on over into what we're playing? Shout out, what have you been playing this week?
So I would like to say I played some Power World and jumped into Selden's World, but I didn't. Um,
I didn't either. No
maybe
spoilers.
next week. I don't
No.
know.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. But no, I ended up mostly I just played God of War Ragnarok for a while. I'm at like 8, 9 hours now. So I
Okay.
added maybe six,
Nice.
7 hours more in it. So I didn't play a ton, but so
It's
far so good.
respectable.
Although, yeah, I will say that I don't know if I'm digging it as much as the first one. I mean,
Mm,
I like the story mostly. I don't really like the combat that much. I don't know if any of our
okay.
viewers, listeners have played it, but it feels like I'm used to like a parry system where you can tell better when something's coming at you to parry or to
When
roll.
you
Or
know when
seems
you're
like when
supposed
you're,
to hit it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, well, it's they pretend to show you like you have like this yellow ring that shows up around the person when they're about to hit you. So you go, okay, yellow ring, I hit my parry, and then it comes like 2 seconds later, and then you're already like in your
Oh.
animation, and you get hit. And then dodging doesn't really do anything. You can sort of dodge unless you're close, but then they have these area of effect hits that you have a red circle that comes up, but then by the time they hit it, you can't back up enough and you get hit by the area effect. And I don't know. And I've looked it up online. I guess a lot of people have the same issues as me. They just don't think the combat's very good. So
No.
unfortunately, I
So
might knock it down in difficulty because I just keep dying. It's bugging me. But
So it's not like a projector issue where you have some sort of
no,
delay between. Okay. Yeah.
no, it's not like that. It's like massively different than what you would think it would be. Like it's not a Dark Souls thing. I play Dark Souls all day on my projector. It's not like a timing issue with for me. It's just that the
Yeah.
game doesn't really convey what you're supposed to do timing wise very well at all.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I think
but otherwise,
more
I mean, it's pretty
games
good.
could benefit from like a rock band style thing where you can sync up button presses with what shows on the screen, and then games could adjust that behind the scenes. And most people don't think about that for a non-music game, but maybe games could benefit
Yeah.
from that.
Well, I mean, yeah, and that's a different thing because I don't think this is that issue, but I do agree that I've actually looked in the past. Every once in a while, I go, wait a minute, do I have a thing on my Xbox where I can sync it? I remember there being like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
button press to the sound, and
yep,
I think it's just a Guitar Hero and Rock Band stuff.
yep,
They
yep.
always used
Yep.
to have those, but
Oh,
I don't think the actual system has that, but it should.
no, it should, yeah,
I
because
don't know why it doesn't.
no, because there's just so many different forms of either latency or just a game being shitty and then being able to sync the console with the game
Yeah.
would make it that much better. So yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna still keep playing it, but I keep getting stuck on these bosses and or not even bosses or mini bosses or just like groups of enemies that just wreck me because I just like I know I'm better than this and I'm hitting when I think I'm supposed to be hitting, but their timing is not what they're pretending that their timing is. So
Yep. Yep.
we'll see. But yeah, that was pretty much it for me. How about you?
All right. I didn't play shit this week. Like it's like I'm trying to get do some shows, some movies, anything other than this. But I did play Monopoly Go on my phone.
Not done with that yet?
Yeah, I'm not out of dice yet. I'm in this event that Selden talked about last week. I'm not. He's not one of my partners in the event because he's off. Well, he was off camping, which is probably why he's sick now and
Yeah.
fucked the show. That's right, Selden. I know you're gonna listen to this later, so fuck
Ooh,
you. Yeah, yeah.
yikes.
But yeah, I'm probably gonna be done with that soon, which will open me up for more video games and TV shows and movies. So,
All
but
right.
Tiff has been carrying the heavyweight in the house. She's been playing games, so she's been playing the Avatar game
Oh, that's right.
and a
Cool.
shitload of it. So because on Monday nights I do the podcast and she plays this entire time, and then
And
on
that's why
when
she's not on the podcast because she's like,
yes,
okay, you go to the podcast. I'm gonna play Avatar.
I got some time, yeah. And then
This
on
is my
Wednesday,
time. My
yeah,
time down here.
and the Wednesdays I have band practice, so she plays that night. This week I'm playing
Yeah.
golf on Thursday, so she's got that night to play. Indoor golf. Sorry,
Jeez.
I should have corrected that since I'm in Massachusetts and that sounded weird. But
Yeah.
yeah,
A
so
little cold.
we're playing some indoor golf on Thursday because in March I go down to play in a golf tournament with my dad, and I want to make sure that I'm not like 6 months out of having played any golf. So, because he's down there playing every fucking day. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, last year he played 252 rounds of golf. Um, so,
Wow.
yeah, that's a lot of golf. So,
Oh,
yeah.
retired life.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, yeah. All
Nice.
right. Well, on that, why don't we hop on over into new releases? First new release out this week is Tomb Raider 1 to 3 remastered out for the Xbox, the PlayStation, the Switch, and the PC. This is the Tomb Raiders with the pointed, pixelated boobies.
Boobs.
Like,
Yeah.
yes,
Like
it's
the
the one we all
boxes.
know from like from the 90s.
It's the box hands and
Yes, yes.
everything. Like yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so it's a cool thing that this exists, but I don't think I would go back and play this.
Yeah. So I didn't own a PlayStation at all.
Okay.
I never played any of the Tomb Raiders, not those ones. I played the reboots recently,
Yeah.
but I always saw them and I saw and people liked them and I just never played them. But eventually recently I thought, well, maybe I'll check them out if they're doing this remastered. So maybe I'll give it a try. If there's some quality of life adjustments to them,
Yep.
maybe
Yep.
I'll give them a shot. If it's just the originals with a
Graphic
better
overhaul. Yeah.
graphic overlay on top of them,
Yeah.
then maybe I won't. I don't know.
All right.
But I feel
Yeah.
like it's something that I should play just because I'm into games and it's part of gaming history and it was a big deal. At least the first
Oh, they were a
two, I think,
huge deal back in the day. Yeah, I
huge.
played the originals, but I I just can't
Yeah.
see myself going back to these. But they do,
Maybe I'll get them
like you
on
said, they
clearance
hold
sale,
a
but not that
place in
much.
history. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're like, it's $30, I think, for all three, and they're on sale right now. I think you can get like $5 off that. So
that seems like a steal.
maybe, maybe I wait. I mean, wait until next Christmas. I'll bet you they'll be down to like 15 for like a flash sale
Yep.
and give it a shot then. I mean, I'm glad they're making stuff like this. I don't think
Yeah.
it's taking away from making other games. So, hey, might as well.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna kind of guarantee you'll have these for future generations and kind of crystallize it to
Yeah.
where you can actually play it now instead
Yeah.
of having the old systems
You either
I mean it
have to have
looks
an
so
old
so
system or you have to
horrible.
emulate it or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
even if you emulate it, it's gonna look terrible on an HD TV. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, hey, I'm for it and I might give it a shot. We'll see.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. That's all you then. So. All right. Next new release out this week is Mario versus Donkey Kong, and this is out for the Switch. This is, I don't even know how many of these there's been. Probably like 10 or 12 over the
The
years.
Mario versus Donkey Kong?
Yeah.
This one's a remake of the Game Boy game that I bought when I was, or that I had when I was like 12. It was a good game back then, and I've seen the previews of this, and it's like the same, but they added more things, and obviously it's completely new graphics. But
Yep.
the back then it was a really fun game, and I think it'd be fun now too. Although I don't know how much it costs if it's like a full
Price game.
$60 game.
Yeah, I
So if
don't
it
know.
is, then yikes. But if it's like 30 or 40, I might give it a shot with my son because I think he'd like it, and I would too, and be probably pretty good at it. It's a fun time. Did you not play
I
did you have
played
Game Boy back then?
I so my kids had the Game Boy and I played it on their Game
Okay.
Boy, but I never played it myself. So yeah.
Okay.
Um
It's like a puzzle game kind of. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's
yep,
sort
yep.
of it's Donkey Kong, but it's
But
also
it's
you really have to kind of know what to do
yep,
to get to
yep,
the top.
yep. No,
So,
it's
yeah.
because you see like the little um
It's
it's like you
it
see like the square blocks where you have to put stuff and
Yeah, and I
yeah,
think
yeah.
some of that's new. A lot of that's probably new. But the original game, it was a lot of like moving stuff around and jumping on
Mm,
certain things to get up, and I think switches and things to change stuff in the game, which I know the new one has too. But
mm,
yeah, it was always a really fun game. I was pleasantly surprised to see that they were making a remake of it because I did not expect that. But
mm.
I've learned to expect the unexpected with Nintendo because who knows what they're thinking. I
Yeah, they
mean,
just bring back licenses all the time. Yeah.
why
Yeah.
you kind of go, why? I mean, it was a good game, but why? And then they sell a boatload of them, and you're like, okay, well,
Yeah.
that's why. They probably did the marketing on it and thought, well, we got to have something kind of in between other Mario games, and there's no Mario game right now, so we'll just do this, and then it'll be a Mario game. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
No. All right.
we'll
Fair
see.
enough. And the last new release out this week is something that's been so long in the hopper. It's Skull and
I think
Bones
it's
out for the
it,
Xbox, the PlayStation, and the PC. This is Ubisoft's version of Sea of Thieves, but not Sea of Thieves.
not really.
Tiff and I saw this for the first time at E3 in 2017. It's been in
I would
development
have said it
since
was longer.
2013.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
uh, so actually, we may have seen this behind closed doors before 2017, but it was officially announced in 2017. So, yeah, actually, my guess is probably we saw it for the first time in 2015. Uh, this
Sounds about
game
right.
has been so long in the hopper. It's changed so much from its original like formula.
This Black Flag Assassin's
Yeah, it was
Creed era when
that's how it started. Yes, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so
Uh,
I guess I'm excited that it's finally coming to light, but I
I'm
just don't have
just
interest
excited
in it.
that I'm excited we won't really have to hear about it being vaporware anymore and it's just out. I mean, it's right now it's in beta, I think. I don't think it's even actually fully out, or it's like a preview or something.
It
Yeah, I
might
mean,
be.
it's one of those where you go, "Oh, that was already out, right? Years ago."
No, no,
You
it
know?
wasn't though.
No,
But yeah,
still not
yeah, yeah,
out.
yep. It's like a
So,
Duke
I mean,
Nukem
it's
Forever. Yeah.
yeah, except for you would know when that was out. But yeah, this one you thought it was out already because there's so many other games that are similar to it, and Sea of Thieves has been out forever,
They've been
and
talking
then
about it forever.
they just talk about it constantly, and it's a big game. I mean, it's a big Duke Nukem. It was its own thing, but
Yep.
this is more. This was almost that. I mean, what 2013? So that's 11 years since
Yeah.
they've announced it. I mean, Duke Nukem Forever was supposed to come out sometime around 2000, and it finally came out in I don't know, 2011 or so. Might have
2014
been
or
10
20. Oh, it
years,
might have been
11 years.
2011. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I don't even remember. But either way, it was not that much longer for Duke, or
It
maybe
just
it's the
felt
same.
longer. Yeah.
It felt longer because we were younger. Time flies now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm
Um,
not gonna try it because I don't care. But I've heard that I've read some articles where the people are saying all this does is make me want to play Sea of Thieves some more. So
Oh, nice, nice.
They weren't really that thrilled with it, but maybe our viewers, listeners will be. I don't know.
Yeah, I just pulled up Duke Nukem Forever. Um, it is it was released in 2011,
Hey, I was right.
and it was in development for 14 years.
Okay,
So,
so still a
so
couple years longer, but
yep,
not
yep.
that many.
No,
Jeez.
it's nuts. Yep.
And hopefully this will have a better reception than Duke Nukem Forever did,
Ugh,
because
that was
I don't
I
think
was
anybody
so
liked that
excited
game.
for it, and even at E3 when we
I mean,
saw
I
it,
played it.
yeah, we saw it at E3 and it looked fantastic. And then when I bought it and it was like press X to pee or whatever it was, like
Yeah,
the
of
very
course.
first scene you go into the bathroom and you have to use the urinal, yeah, and then
Press X to throw money at strippers.
yes, yeah,
Oh, that was
exactly,
probably
yeah.
Duke
No,
Nukem,
that was
regular
probably
Duke
yeah,
Nukem,
that was the old school one, yes, yeah.
3D. Yeah, yeah.
But
I think they had
yeah,
gotten rid of the strippers by then.
yeah, yeah, some things fall out of fashion.
That's
Um,
true. But
or you,
peeing, that's fine.
yeah, peeing and like being like, oh, like he was way too happy to
So
pee.
many
Like
things.
I have
Yeah,
never been that happy to pee. Well, maybe I have
it's
like if I was in a long car ride and I finally got out and got to pee, but like he was just like walking around busting stuff up, and then he sounded way too cool about peeing. Like it's like, oh, that feels so good. Like yeah,
yeah.
it just wasn't right.
I
But
think that they were. I don't know why we're talking about Duke Nukem Forever, but they were marketing to the people who were
uh,
kids back in the 90s as if they
yes,
were still the in the 90s and they were
and
still
still
kids.
kids. Yes, yeah,
And none of the
exactly.
kids
That's
now in 2011 cared about that game. And
yeah,
those of us who cared about it back then were like 30,
yeah,
35, you know?
exactly.
So,
Yes, yep, yep.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Then moving right along, that wraps up the new releases. So we'll head on over to gaming news. And if you are actually a person in chat that's not whoever this is, Shangy Girl, and you want to post some actual stuff in our chat, we'll talk about it. But why don't we just jump on right into it? So, I'll start off. Steam's Remote Play Together Fest kicks off today. So, this is something new that Steam has. And uh, basically, what this is taking a co op game that you would normally play couch co op. And Steam has found a way through the magics of the internet to make it so that you can play with someone else somewhere different than you, but it's a co-op couch co-op game, and it's like literally the most fantastic idea ever.
I
Um,
mean, isn't that just the same? How does it different though than playing online with someone? I don't
because
know.
these are games that don't support internet play,
Right, right, okay. So
so
it's just
Steam
like
is
if they
adding that layer. Um,
gotcha.
so they're adding that. Hey, we're really in the same room, but we're not, and they're faking out the game, but because the internet is the speed it is now and latency is what it is, like you can actually do that. um it'd be like if you took a Halo game that didn't have split screen and you were able to play remote split screen with someone. um
Or using like Xbox Connect to do
oh,
Halo 1.
old school Xbox Connect, yeah,
Like you could
yeah,
play
yeah,
remotely, but
yeah,
it
yeah,
didn't
you
support remote play.
no, yeah, you ran it on a PC, your laptop right
Yeah.
next to you, and then you connected to Xbox Connect and you joined other people. Oh, those were the days. You're making me
So this
nostalgic,
is
but yes, yeah.
right, yeah. So this is sort of like them doing the game designer's job for them, where it's like you should have made this online to begin with. We're just making it so that we're pretending that you could play it, or that you, or we're just helping you
Yeah, yeah,
actually make your
they're
game online without you having to do it.
yeah, yeah. They literally picked up the slack. So,
All right.
and there's a ton of games that are supported by this, and obviously they're pushing this Together Fest thing. So yeah, I think it's cool. Granted, I'd prefer developers build this into games, but if Steam is able to fix shitty games, I'm all for that too. So
Hey, yeah. I mean, if you can make all games co-op, that the all games online co-op, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
It's awesome.
Uh, next story.
PS5 has only outsold Xbox Series XS 2-1. Newly revealed sales data suggests. So it's common knowledge that Sony was outpacing Xbox in terms of console sales, but this gives a better picture. It seems like I feel like a lot of us thought that it was a lot more than that,
I thought
and
so. Yeah. Yeah.
like 3-1 maybe.
Yep.
So it sounds like, and we know that Xbox hasn't been actually showing their numbers since they started to keep posting every quarter that they were lower than Sony's. So what's the point? Because you don't want to post bad news like that all
No,
the time.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So they stopped doing it, and but then it sounds like looks like November 2023 PS5 hit 50 million units sold, and Xbox is just under 27. So just under 2-1, um, which I think is decent for the way that Sony had a stranglehold on the industry since the Xbox One came out.
Oh yeah, this is better than
Um,
the last generation. Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I was watching something recently where it was, I mean, I knew this already, but it just reiterated it to me that Microsoft would have just creamed Sony in the Xbox 360 era, and they kind of did, but because of the Red Ring of Death, they didn't end up really
Yep.
doing well.
Yep.
So they had to keep replacing them. But then they replaced them, and then customers were still happy because they were fixing them for free. So that
Yep.
was good. But if that whole thing hadn't happened, with the whole PS3 being $100
Oh,
more,
I think it was 200
and
bucks more, right?
was it two? Maybe it was 200, or I guess the bigger,
I guess
maybe
the
the
high end
larger
one.
one
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
200.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it was.
Yeah.
And it came out a year after Xbox 360, and
Yep.
360 had the smaller games that you could do digitally and all that.
Yep. Yep.
But then after that, Sony just started to clear the deck with them because of the screw up with the Xbox One and Matric and everything. So,
Yep.
and I think that with that, now that they're only, I mean, 2-1 sounds like a lot, but we're only talking about hardware sales. We're not talking about Game Pass and other stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Yes. Yep. Yeah.
but
This is like a much more optimistic look than I thought they had before I read this story. So, like you, I thought it was like a 3-1 or more, and it it seemed much more bleak. And then 2-1, like that's an improvement generation to generation. Like it's accelerating in the right
yeah,
direction. So,
yeah.
not to
I mean, it
mention
was a
that.
lot more with Xbox One, PS4, wasn't it? I
Oh
think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was like 3 or 4 to 1. So, and the fact that we have Game Pass now, and the fact that Microsoft pretty much owns all the cool games. Like,
Yeah, I mean, they don't own Naughty Dog, but
yeah,
otherwise, they own a lot of the big studios. So
yeah,
they keep buying packages of companies.
yes,
So I mean,
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Activision slash Blizzard slash King, all
yeah,
that at once. So that
yeah,
hasn't come to
yeah,
fruition yet because it just happened.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and we'll see, stuff will happen with that. We assume they put those Activision games of Call of Duty on Game Pass. There's rumors they might not.
yeah,
So hopefully they will, but that's a whole other thing. But I mean, and then there's, Nintendo,
yeah.
who I think they were like 130 million right now. I mean, I think they're going to surpass the PS2 pretty soon as the highest selling console ever.
No, it's
Or they're
crazy.
pretty
Yeah,
close. I mean,
yeah,
they're ending console soon probably, but I mean, it'll still be around for, I would say, a year or two more after they do the Switch too. So who knows? But they're
yeah.
not really the same
I
thing.
have two of them. I don't use them, but I have
Yeah,
two.
right.
So
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah,
You're helping.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
helping with those sales. Buy two, don't even use them.
I did my work. Yep,
You did, yeah. Good
threw
job.
them a bone. So, all right.
All right,
Well,
next
kind of
story.
on like a sort of connected story to this. Microsoft isn't exiting the console business. Phil Spencer reportedly told the staff. So
You do this
this.
now, huh? Okay.
Oh, you wanted this
No,
one?
no, I just
Oh,
meant this is gonna be a long one.
Yeah, so we've been talking about this for I think 3 episodes in a row, where there's been all of these um, kind of foreshadowing stories about Microsoft, and maybe this is their time getting out of the business, and they're just going to become a Sega, if you will, of just producing games. Um, and then, Phil Spencer comes out and says, right outright, no, we're still in. Now, granted, there's an episode of the Xbox podcast coming up where Phil Spencer and some folks are going to be talking about the upcoming uh, future of Xbox as a hardware company. So,
On Thursday.
yeah, I just and like you said, that's not where you make a giant announcement. So I think that's probably
Yeah.
the right perspective to take for this. Um, but yeah, I don't see them leaving this anytime soon. I know you keep going back to this. So what are your thoughts?
Well, back to what? Like them leaving the console? I mean, obviously they're not, because
Yeah.
they're not, but I think that eventually they probably will stop making just dedicated hardware for Xbox, but I think eventually it'll just be the Xbox family brand of all these games, and they're gonna have Game Pass, and they're gonna have it on everything, and but I don't think that's
Mm,
quite yet. Uh,
mm,
because if you want like a really high end system like in your house, you can build a PC. And almost
yeah.
all their games, I think, not all of them, but a lot, all the ones that
Most
are
of
on
them. Yeah.
PC,
Yeah.
that are on their Game Pass service are available on PC. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, it was just sort of an ominous thing in the middle of the week last week, or it was like the day we had our podcast last week, I think. And he
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, we hear you. We're gonna talk next week about it. Stay tuned." Like, oh crap. And then today he was, "Oh, we're gonna have a podcast on Thursday to discuss." Okay, well, that doesn't sound as bad. I mean, a podcast that
Yeah.
will talk out a bunch of stuff is not the same as a press release that he's gonna get
Yeah.
up and be in front of everybody and be like, "Okay, well,
Xbox
we're
is stepping
changing our
out of the.
business,"
Yes.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So I don't think a podcast is, no, they're not gonna do that in podcasts. So but we'll see. I mean, I did hear today that the rumors that Starfield were going to PS5 were false.
Yeah.
So there's that. I don't know about Indiana Jones. We'll see. I think that I think probably Indiana Jones will probably be a timed release. That's
Yeah.
just my own gut feeling.
Oh, that's my feel too. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just such a huge game, and it's not. I feel like they would just be leaving so much money on the table by not doing that. And with Starfield being, it's not a flop, but it's not as doing as well as I thought it was going to do. I don't know that bringing that to PS5 and losing their exclusivity on that is going to really help them that much. So
Yeah.
I think Indiana's maybe, hey, it'll come out on Xbox and then maybe next year it'll come out on PS5 or something. But we'll
Who
see.
knows?
So
Mm.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what goes on this week. It was a little it was a little stressful last week for people who were concerned about that stuff. So, and the whole internet, of course, exploded with, "Oh, Xbox is done. Oh, okay."
Yes.
And there were people posting like threads of, "What was it like when Sega said the Dreamcast was done? And you were
Yes. Yep.
a
Yep.
Sega fan, and people were talking about that. No, it was the worst day of my life, and all this stuff. I stopped
Yeah.
gaming for
The
like a decade,
Dreamcast
and
was so awesome, but it only really lasted 2 years before they
if
shut
that,
it down.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly." But some of the, I mean, in that short amount of time, I was not a Sega fan back then, and I actually had just kind of stopped playing games for about that time.
Mm,
So I didn't really get to play any of that stuff anyway. But when I look at back at it now, I go, this is a lot of weird, wild stuff. It's interesting, it's
yeah.
different. They took some risks. It looks great. It still looks great. If
Yeah.
you can get it, like if you can find like an HD mod for like a Dreamcast, it looks good still, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
probably plays well too. It looks fun. So think of that being 25 years ago almost.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they
Yeah,
did, and I know
it's
that.
much harder to find like a dial-up internet that you could connect
Yeah,
to
yeah,
play with some.
right.
Yes, man.
True, but
Uh,
they did have that. I think they had. I think it was
oh,
Fantasy Star or something back then
Fantasy Star.
that you
You could
could
play
play.
you could play all kinds of games online with other people.
online with them.
You needed
Yeah,
an internet provider that gave you either slip or PPP connections
yeah.
to connect to the internet, and you would dial
But
up
that was
and
the
go,
first. That was the first one, right? That was the
yeah,
first
yep,
system that came with a internet
yep,
connection. I mean,
with a
it
modem,
was
yeah, because
dial up,
it was
but
dial
still,
up. So yeah, yeah, it was like
yeah.
bong bong. Yes, yes,
There's that, and
yep.
then the Xbox came out like the next year with well, the PS2 have a Ethernet. I think it did.
Um,
I can't remember.
I don't think it did. I think
No?
Xbox was the
Okay.
first. Yeah, yeah,
Xbox does, yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so we'll see. I don't think that it's going to be as dire as people were thinking, but it was kind of weird to not come out with like a statement immediately debunking the rumors. So I
They
guess we'll
did
see what
wait,
they
and
say.
now we're waiting for this podcast. So yeah,
But you know what? It caused a lot of buzz around Xbox. Maybe that's what they
it's
wanted. They
true.
thought,
Yeah,
let's take hold of this situation and we will control it, and then we can wait and like get our ducks in a row and say what we're gonna say and then
yeah.
say it. And in that meantime, people will be freaking out and then they'll have Xbox on the tip of their tongue the whole week.
No, that's true,
Might as
and
well.
it's much tougher without having a Major Nelson around anymore. Um,
Yeah.
like I know
Phil's
we
kind of his own
have,
Major Nelson.
yeah, I know we have Jeff Rubenstein, and we have the rest of the folks on that new version of the podcast, but it's not quite the same as having Larry around. And
Yeah.
like when Larry spoke, people listened, and I'm not sure that it's the same anymore. So I think that's probably why they're taking this approach.
I
But
always liked listening to Larry, but I also always felt like he was just sort of like being a fluff
like a
piece guy
marketing
for
shill.
like he didn't know everything particularly. Or what he did know, maybe he was like covering so that he couldn't actually say it. And it feels got to be that way too, as well, I'm sure. But I feel like he also just kind of just says what he feels like, and he can because it's his company. I mean,
Yeah,
kind of his company. And Major Nelson was just more like a PR guy, so
yeah. He was
a little different. But I do miss him, miss his
Larry.
voice
Larry
for
was a
sure.
friend. I Tiff and I spent a lot of time with him, and
Yeah. And
it's
I'm not
sad
saying,
to
and I'm
see
just
him
saying
go.
like he's
So
not I'm just saying it wasn't something that he could
no, yeah,
just say
he was
stuff when he
still,
wanted to.
it was out of his control what he could
Exactly.
say.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
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 So
No diss on him at all. It was just more like,
yeah,
I know he's holding back probably because he has to, and that's kind of just how it
yeah.
is.
Phil doesn't have to hold back. Phil can say whatever the fuck
No.
he wants. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So it
So
was fun to listen to, but then occasionally I'd be like, all right, well, I get that this sort of like is Nintendo Power doing their own coverage for Nintendo,
yeah,
things like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, all right, like I get it. I mean, you're promoting your stuff, and
yeah,
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 I mean, if I
yeah.
wanted to listen to Xbox stuff, all promotions, then I'll listen to that. So I did, but this stuff I think is a little more heavy, and I'm looking forward to whatever comes on Thursday.
Me too. All right, next story.
Is it me?
Oh, it's you. Yes, yeah. There's no Selden here.
Yeah,
Remember we
we
talked
had
about
like
this.
a talk. Yeah, we had like a long talk, and I thought, oh, did I start that one? No. Yeah, that's right. FTC accuses Microsoft of misrepresenting its Activision Blizzard plans after layoffs. It says that they filed a complaint in the Federal Appeals Court. So the last week's downsizing, which affected employees of Blizzard, contradicts
Yep.
Microsoft's representations in this proceeding. So they're asking for a temporary pause of the Activision
Of the acquisition. Yeah, that's
acquisition,
crazy.
but it's just, I mean, they're just looking for something. I feel
Yeah,
like they've been doing this, and then they finally said it was fine, and then they sort of backtracked, but they couldn't do anything. So now they're trying to
yep,
find a reason
yeah.
that they can backtrack.
Because
And
Microsoft was like, oh no, they're going to be two separate
I
companies,
mean,
and we're not going to have
yeah,
any redundancy, so we won't need any layoffs. But then
yeah,
everybody laid people off. So
yeah.
like that's the
Like
counter
how are they no
argument is
different?
like yeah, everybody, like literally every games company is laying people off. So yeah, we had to too. And I guess that's the counter argument to this. But I I guess I can sort of see where the FTC says this wasn't being honest, but at the same time, the fact that everyone in the games industry is laying people off would instantly negate that, right? Like it's,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I know that a lot of it, some of it is okay, we have redundancy, we have this head over here and this head over here. Now they're coming together and we don't need two. But it's just in general too, you're going to be like, okay, maybe they have 800 from one and 1100 from the other, and that comes together to 1900, but it still doesn't mean that they just merged together and then everything got redundant and they removed
yeah,
all those
no,
people. They're probably going to have to do it anyway, just like everyone else is doing right now.
yeah,
And especially because they just spent billions and billions and billions of dollars
yeah.
on this acquisition and all the court fees and all that stuff.
Oh my
Like
God, yeah, yeah.
this,
This is,
I'm not like supporting layoffs, but I'm just saying that I understand how that works with the money,
yeah, yeah,
unfortunately.
and I agree. Like this is a non-story that the FTC is trying to like take their second bite at the apple and be like, yeah, Microsoft, we told you, like, sure, we got ruled against, but yeah, now we're coming at you again. Like, it's it's silly at
Yeah,
best.
I mean it says that an estimated 10,500 people in the industry lost their jobs in 2023
Yeah,
and 6,000 more in 2024 so far. So 1,900 is a lot, but it's also only, you know,
such
8%
a
of all that.
small
So
percent. Yes, yeah, yeah.
I mean, it sucks. But it is, who knows if the same amount would have happened if they hadn't acquired them, maybe half of that would have been let go, but they wouldn't have
Yeah,
had Activision to let go people from. So
yeah. No one knows. Yeah,
don't know. And there's no real way to know necessarily, because it's just all up to them if
yeah,
they want to let people go. So how are you going to prove that, oh, it's because of this? And I don't
yeah.
know. It just seems silly.
All right, fair
All
enough.
right, next story.
Next story, Take-Two preparing cost reduction program as GTA 5 hits 195 million lifetime sales. So those aren't dollars. That's units sold. That
That
is
is insane.
nuts. Um
So
and
that's like one out of every 40 people in the world owns GTA 5.
it's crazy, right? Yeah. Um, so yeah, so sure, they're ramping down costs and they're trying to make sure that they're ready for GTA 6 when it comes out or whatever, but yeah, sure you have to ramp things down. Like you can't have a juggernaut that goes forever. And I think that's really what this boils down to. But 195 million people buying a game for 60 or more dollars is insane.
And
That's
why do you have to reduce your costs? You obviously
yeah.
have all the money in the world.
And not to mention that this game came with like a games as a service side thing where people were
Exactly.
pumping money into GTA Online and everything else. Um,
And that's the main game to most people,
yeah.
I
Um,
think.
so, it, like, my takeaway from the story was not that they're this cost reduction program, but it was like, holy shit, Take Two kicked ass and they crushed it. And they're still crushing it. And they're getting ready to release their next crushing it thing. And I saw that like uh, Red Dead Redemption 2 has had 61 million in sales, like as part of this
Yep.
story. So like their follow on that's not the successful Take Two series, just like their side piece, has crushed it as well. Like this is ludicrous.
Pretty crazy. I mean,
Good on
what
these
other
guys.
games they don't ever have to make any other games than GTA if they don't want to,
Now you
right?
do a GTA, then you do a
Maybe Red Dead 3.
yeah, a Red Dead, and
But
then
I mean,
you
that's very expensive though.
yeah.
So
But
crazy,
yeah,
man.
no, good on them. So
And when's that going to come out next year? Or do we
I
know?
think that's a 2025 title, but
2025?
but
Yeah. Not this year, but
As Rockstar always says, we'll release it when we're ready. So
that's true. I mean, this GTA 5 has been going for 10 years. I think it was at the end of, I think it was right when the new ones came out. The
I
Xbox
thought
One
it was
and
right
PS4, I
before,
think.
right?
Yeah, I think it's right
Yeah,
around then.
yeah,
So
yeah,
11 years ish, something
yeah. They just put
crazy.
things out
And
whenever they're ready for it, and people are
yeah,
like, "Yep,
just milk the current one for as long as
yep,
you
yep,
can.
yep,
Make the other one in the background, and then whenever you feel like the other one is starting to make less money, put out the new one, and
yep."
then just keep on going.
It is quite the system. Yeah.
You know what I just thought? Xbox announcement. They're going to be making World of Warcraft 2. They can milk that one.
Yeah,
They can
they
have all
just
those
milk it
subs.
out. Yeah,
Nah, the world's not the
yeah.
same anymore, but they
No.
could do that as a games like a free game with Xbox Game Pass. World of
Oh,
Warcraft
yeah,
2.
and then sell
Get
you
all
the
those
as a
people
service stuff. Yep. Yeah.
as a service stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Sorry,
could.
tangent, but yeah.
Yeah. No, not a
All
bad idea.
right.
All right,
No,
next
not a bad idea. Maybe I should pitch
story.
that. New Baldur's Gate 3 patch improves kissing. I haven't
I'm
played
surprised you
Baldur's Gate
took
3
this
yet,
story.
so I didn't want the other one, so I took this one. It says love is in the air in Faerun. We've made improvements to locking lips with your romantic partner. Of course, for time for Valentine's Day. Released next week, patch 6 includes improved smooches, new Camp Idle animations, new legendary
This is
actions
a
and honor
story
mode,
we're
and plenty of
talking
bug
about.
fixes. I mean,
Uh,
new smooches, improved
no,
smooches.
no.
I don't know if it's timed with Valentine's Day or what. That's kind of funny though.
Oh,
But there was bugs though. I guess that they saw that there was recently fixed an Asterion specific bug that saw the vampire spawn grab the player character by the hips and proceed to passionately smooch the air just above their head. So weird issues like that. So they're going to be
yeah, yeah,
fixing that. They
yeah,
said they described the patch as a hefty one. So it's going to
yeah.
include a bunch of stuff like I just mentioned. But hey, if you're playing Baldur's Gate 3, which I will be eventually when it goes on sale, I'm going to grab it. But hey, patch for you for
See,
Valentine's
now
Day.
when you get it, you're gonna kiss on the lips and not above the head. So you
Not
got
above
that
the
going
head.
for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
You don't want
that
that.
no one wants that.
No
Like
one wants that.
that's
Not
weird.
above the
Yeah,
head.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
All right.
all right.
Last story?
Last but not least, Ubisoft will reveal more Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Red details in May. So these are things that were leaked out a little bit early, and then Ubisoft came out and said, "Hey, you know what? We'll do an event in May, and we'll drop some more the Star Wars Outlaws. Like we saw a little bit of the early footage of that. Assassin's Creed, like everyone's always waiting for the next AC drop, and we've seen screenshots, but nothing more. So, uh, just to be happy to see this in the May time frame is probably a good thing because this is right before all of the like fake E3 things start dropping from every other company. Um, yeah, I'm pretty cool with this. I,
Yeah.
I was more interested in Star Wars Outlaws than I am Assassin's Creed Red. I'm pretty much done with Assassin's Creed, but I don't know if you're still deep into
Yeah.
that.
I've not played an Assassin's Creed really since the Ezio stuff. I played a little bit of Black Flag
Okay.
and I played like a minute of the one set in Egypt,
Oh,
Origins.
okay. Yeah.
But then I put that down because it didn't feel like Assassin's Creed to me. It was like running around a
No,
lot with
it was a
nothing to
different
climb
game
on, and
altogether. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I wasn't a fan of that. I will eventually probably pick up another one. Maybe I'll pick up Red, but nah. But I know that they said in this that because if they do talk about this in May, they're going to talk about their 2024, 2025 fiscal year, which ends
Yep,
next
yep,
April, I believe. And so that means that these both would be coming in out within that time period, probably.
yep, yep.
Otherwise, they wouldn't talk about them. So, hey, it could mean that we'll have both by next April at the latest, which is nice
I'm
if
always
you're
up
into
for another
those.
Star Wars game. Yeah.
Yeah, and I still haven't gotten back and played more of the new Jedi game, but
Oh,
I will
nice.
soon. Probably gonna finish God of War first though, just because I got deeper into that.
You're super deep
Uh,
in that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, Star Wars Outlaws looks pretty cool though, from what I saw the preview for that. So
Yeah.
I'm interested in that one for sure. Assassin's Creed, we'll see, but I don't know. It's nice.
Yeah, it's
Ubisoft just Ubisoft is always kind of hit or miss for me for a
yeah.
while.
No,
I don't
and I
really.
agree. Like they have enough of their corporate problems and personnel problems, and then the games kind of get repetitive. They kind of get formulaic, and
Yeah, lots of
yeah,
here's a map. Go find these million things on the map.
yep.
Okay, but I mean, sometimes I'm in the mood for that, but other times I just
You're
okay.
like,
There's too much
I
stuff.
just want to spend an hour. I don't want to spend 5. Yes,
Yeah, and then me, of course, it's like the OCD of me. Like,
because you're the
okay, well, I got
completionist. Yeah.
I got 5 of these. I need to get the other 25. Otherwise, it's a loss. And so I need to, it's a sunk cost. I need to get all of this stuff. If I got a little bit, I got to get all of it. Oh, and I
Yep.
got to get all these too because they're right there. Let's got to pick up that feather and
Like
whatever. Oh, no, I have to
Pokemon,
get
you
all
got to
100
catch
of
them
those
all.
feathers. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it's not good. It's not good for
No,
me. It's just
no,
my own personality with that stuff. So
it is.
that's
Yeah.
me and achievements too. I'm almost at 200K. I'm getting there. But
I gave up on those long ago. So,
uh,
all
yeah,
right.
that's it.
Well, that wraps up gaming news. If you want to push something to us for next week, 773-527-2961, podcast at toolplay.com, or comment on this episode thread in the Tool to Play homepage. And sponsors! We're looking for some. I'm going to go slow again this week. Yeah, like if you've got like a little sub shop, yeah, you can sponsor us. $20, sure, whatever. We don't give a shit. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't need to be Netflix. You don't need to be whatever our old beer of the month club was. You don't need to be one of these giant sponsors. You can be just some like little local business, and we will pimp you. And we probably have people in that area that can use your services. So yeah, just think about it. Like, yeah, hey.
Derek needs to fund his Bartesian habit.
Yeah, so yeah, we could use some sponsors. So please, 773-527-2961 or podcast at toolplay.com. Twitter us up. You can find everything Tool Play related. You love when I say that Tool Play related. Now that's all I can think of when I say it. And I'm like, I try to not say it, but I know you're listening to it. You can find everything Tool Player at twitter.com/toolplay. Everything podcast related at twitter.com/still_got_game. Facebook the fuck out of us. Facebook.com/tool to play. We also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/tool to play. That is where we have all our archive video content. You could watch Still Got Game there. You could watch Tiff's immature interviews, but we know that all anyone wants to watch is Sultan's Cam Show. So definitely youtube.com/tool to play and let Sultan know that you love his content. You love his camera angle. You love everything about that show.
I mean,
No matter
Valentine's Day is
how
coming
weird.
up.
Yeah, no matter how weird it is. Please rate and review the podcast on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. And if you get an extra 5 seconds, write something nice about the show. Hey, Shadow's cool. I like him. He's a good addition. Selden, wow, I went and watched his cam show. That was fucked up. D Smooth, yeah. Oh, you give me the phone set. We have a Discord channel. That's discord.me/stillgotgame. That's discord.me/stillgotgame. That's where you can chat with all of the hosts of this show each and every week. So jump on there, chat. Someone maybe will respond to you. Probably Shadow.
Probably me.
Probably Selden. probably not me. I barely respond to Shadow when he's like, "Are we
Well,
doing the
Seldon might be
show?"
camping. That's also
No,
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true too. Yes, yeah. So Shadow's the only reliable one. So yeah, definitely go there and chat with Shadow all you want. All right, Shadow, what do you got to pimp this week?
I'm gonna go back and pimp Extra Life for kids, for Children's Medical Network hospitals again. Registration for 2024 is live. If you have like a YouTube channel, a Twitter or a Twitch channel, something like that, you want to do like a marathon gaming stream, raise money for kids, you can sign up and you can get teams going. You can like have a whole bunch of your friends or even your work do a team together and all have pledges, and I think it's a really good way to game and do stuff for kids.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So on my end, last week I pimped JDRF, the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. This week, since Seldon's not here, I'll pimp cancer charities. So please throw something their way this week. Just I I feel like some of us are more fortunate than others, so we should really reach out and support these charities and and give what we can afford to give, because not everybody can, and some of these people are um, really sucked down by bills and hospital bills and everything else. So if you have some extra money to give, please support these charities. Whether it's Extra Life, whether it's JDRF, whether it's American Cancer Society, like, if you feel blessed, share it. That's really all I have to say. So,
For sure.
yeah, but you can find all of my links at linktree/Derek Nolan. That's linktr.ee/Derek Nolan. You'll see all of my links there, all the show's links there. What I really should do is start putting the charity links in there as well. And maybe I'll start that starting next week. I'll capture everything that we talk about in the show, and I'll add them to my link tree so that it's like a one-stop shop. But yeah, just help people out. Like, the world's fucked up enough, so just throw people a bone and give them a hand, especially if you're better off than some other folks. So, all right.
For sure.
I would remind you all, you can join us each and every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific at youtube.com/tool2play, facebook.com/tool2play, twitch.tv/still_got_game, x.com/tool2play, and kick.com/stillgotgame. And on that, why don't we wrap this Seldon Went Camping and Got Sick episode up? I'm Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I am Brian Shadow Emmerich.
And we don't have shows for the next 2 weeks. Sorry.